Right, up next, we'd like to invite the Member of Parliament Subang, YB Sivarasa, up on stage to say a few words. Please welcome.
是的，接下来呢，我们就有请我们苏邦区的国会议员 YB Sivarasa 上台来演讲，有请。
Saudari Elizabeth Wong, Saudara Teng Chan Kim, Speaker Dewan Undangan Negeri Selangor, Saudara Tien Chua, ladies and gentlemen, good evening to all of you. Tacha Wang Sang Hao, Vanakkam. It is a pleasure to be here this evening on this occasion, this fundraising dinner to show support to Elizabeth Wong as the State Assemblywoman of Bukit Lanjan. May I take this opportunity to thank all of you, for the support that you have shown, not just her, but also to me as the Member of Parliament for Subang, and to Parti Keadilan and Pakatan Rakyat. And it is because of your support that we stand here before you this evening, and we thank you for that support. Your support, ladies and gentlemen, is what brought the change, the tsunami of change last March in 2008. And 20 months on, we are still working hard to push that change. In Selangor, things have been done. Some of it you have heard described. YB Teng Chan Kim as the Speaker set up Selcat, pushed through the contempt of the House enactment. He's now working on the Selangor State Assembly Services enactment, which will create more independence for the State Assembly of Selangor. Elizabeth Wong and I have been working on freedom of information issues. I placed through a private member's bill last May in our first session of Parliament a freedom of information bill. Unfortunately, Barisan Nasional does not believe in freedom of information. So that bill, ladies and gentlemen, that private member's bill is still sitting in the order of business, and they refuse to bring it up for discussion. But the difference in Selangor is because you, the people of Selangor, changed the government of Selangor. And we have people like Elizabeth and YB Teng there with Tan Sri Khalid. In Selangor, it is going to be different. Because in Selangor, next year, Elizabeth and her team will be tabling a freedom of information enactment in the State Assembly of Selangor. This is the difference, ladies and gentlemen. This is the difference between Barisan Nasional, what they stand for, the values they have, and the values we have. They want the Official Secrets Act. We want freedom of information for the Rakyat. That is the difference. And you can see it in the way Tan Sri Khalid runs the state. Barisan Nasional hides documents from us. Barisan Nasional refuses to disclose documents about PKFZ until you force them to do it. You bring them to Parliament, force them to the PAC, force them to police investigations. Finally, reluctantly, they are forced to bring out the documents. That is not the way with us. All of you have read about the Bukit Antarabangsa hill slope disaster. Now, there was a report done by the federal authorities about what caused the landslide there. What did Barisan Nasional do? when the people of Oloklang, of Bukit Antara Bangsa, asked for that report to be made public, they refused. The federal authorities refused, and until finally Tan Sri Khalid said, no more waiting, we as the state government of Selangor will declassify that report and make it available to the people of Selangor to read. That, ladies and gentlemen, is the difference between Barisan Nasional and Pakatan Rakyat. This is the difference, and this is what you elected us for. And this is what we will keep doing. We will keep doing in Selangor despite the obstacles that they are throwing at us, the difficulties they are putting in front of us. But this is what we will keep doing. And as YB Teng just said, this is why the next general elections is going to be critical for the state of our country, because the next general elections must produce the next big change. We must have a change at federal level to make the big transformation for this country, to truly democratize this country, to make the judiciary independent, to reform the Aegis chambers, to reform the police force, to change the development of this country in a way that it benefits everybody fairly and justly. These changes we can only really do in a maximum way if we have federal power. And this, we hope, we count on you for your support. Just now, YB Teng and YB Khalid as well, Saudara Khalid and Saudara Teng mentioned the VK Lingam tape. I have a personal acquaintance with that tape, incidentally. I still remember the day in 2007, almost more than 2 years ago, when I got a phone call and I was told, please come and meet somebody in Mid Valley and we want to show you this particular video clip. And it was that day when I saw that video clip that it confirmed for me as a lawyer what we had known for many years from the 90s. As a practicing lawyer, we knew about Yusof Chin. We knew about VK Lingam. We knew what was going on in the judiciary. We knew about the trip to New Zealand, where VK Lingam took Yusof Chin and both families along to the most expensive hotels in New Zealand, to an expensive fishing trip, and of course also VK Lingam is writing the judgments for Yusof Chin. Can you imagine? You go to court and one side's lawyer writes the judgment for the judge to deliver. That was what was going on in the judiciary in the 90s. We knew it, but we couldn't do anything about it because it was all buried in the files of the ACA. And in 2007, that video clip emerged. Much has happened since then. The ACA harassed us, threatened YB Sim and me with jail, threatened Dato Sri Anwar. We forced them to set up the Royal Commission. They wrote a big report. There's 6 volumes of that report. And in that report, the Royal Commission made one very important observation. They said to the ACA, you have to reopen and reinvestigate this case. The very integrity of the ACA, now we call the MACC, depends on it. They said this in the report. Why, ladies and gentlemen? Because of the kind of evidence that was produced before it. Evidence was produced by Lingam's former secretary, Jayanti, by Lingam's younger brother who was working in the office about what was going on. Jayanti described to the commission how she, on VK Lingam's instructions, booked the holiday for both the families. She described how she organized the payment for the whole trip. But today, We get Minister having the audacity, ladies and gentlemen, to tell us we can't prosecute this because we can't find the main witness. This is what we get. Minister Nazri, a trained lawyer, went to law school, practiced law, and comes and tells us, I can't prosecute.